Top of the morning, my world, Kish, my world, coming to you live and direct from the United Arab Emirates. And as you can see and tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to tell you about my very first experience having surgery. I've never had surgery in my life, and so it was a big deal. So I'm gonna tell you how it went, and I'm just gonna go direct into it. I won't waste much time. So I did my first surgery. It was a kidney transplant surgery. For those who don't know, I gave my kidney to my sister who needed it, and so that was the very first time for me to be put under, the very first time for me to experience surgery. It was a whole new ball game for me, So man, I remember it was early in the morning because we were supposed to do the surgery at around 8 o'clock or 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So we were supposed to arrive in the hospital much earlier, like at 6 o'clock, just for the preparations to get changed, everything. So yeah, I arrived to the hospital on time. My sister was already there, my dad was there also, and man, I remember clearly, like, the tension was so high at that point. So we were just seated, nobody was really saying much. Then the nurses came and registered us, and they took us into a different room. And in this room, we were told to just, change and get ready. And then I changed into the clothes of the hospital, and then I was sitting in the bed, and the nurse just came and she started putting the IV drops on me. And she was like, yeah, don't worry, you won't come back down again from the bed till tomorrow, the next day. So wow, I was like, wondering how it's gonna go. But man, let me tell you, things went by so fast. So after that, my sister was in the next bed adjacent to me, and without much further ado, they rolled me away, and I could see me leaving her. I left Jackie there, I left my dad, I left Zoel. Man, that feeling is, I don't know, I can't explain it. So anyways, they rolled me away and they left her behind. And as soon as they rolled me away, she just started crying because, that was the last time we were gonna see each other until after like 4, 5, 6 hours after the surgery is done. It was very intense, to be honest. So I was there, keeping my calm, trying to just let it come in and just hoping for the best, because with surgery, you never know how it goes. So yeah, it was a nice experience. Not really, but it was a calm experience, so to speak. So they rolled me into the clinic, the surgery room, and I could see like the sign that says, operating theater. I was there. So they rolled me in there, and I was there, and I was sleeping, and I had met the anesthetics doctor, the one who's responsible for putting you under. So anyways, I was there, the doctors were preparing. I could see like one guy already in his sterile clothes preparing instruments, like those things to catch you. Man, it was such an experience. I was just thinking, so these are the instruments that are gonna be used on me. I would look at my surgeon, he was opening the laptop, and looking at my insides. And then, man, at this point, the surgeon actually came and he said to me, we are just discussing your case here because you have a very complicated anatomy, so it might be a bit of difficulty. And then he said, but don't worry, that's what we do. And he walked off. And already I was like, what the hell? Like, what's happening? What do you mean complicated anatomy? Yeah, anyways, I just chose to trust in the medicines and doctors and fate, and whatever happens, happens, because it's a decision I had made. So I was there and I was lying, and then I was talking to this one. I had 2 surgeons and like 4 nurses. So I was talking to the assistant surgeon, and we were just having really nice conversation. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but I was really making her laugh, and she made me also calm. She was also calm. It was amazing. So at this point, I saw the anesthesia doctor come towards me, and that's when I knew I'm about to go down. So my surgeon, the lady, she was talking to me, making jokes, blah blah blah. So I think this is the point where they're trying to calm you down before you go. So she comes. So the guy comes and he says, how are you? And I tell him, yo, I hope you give me sweet dreams. I don't want to have nightmares. And we're just laughing. And before I know it, they're still talking to me. We are making jokes. Then I start to see, it's like, how your eyes vision is like a circle. Then I started seeing darkness on this side, and the darkness starts to become smaller and smaller. So at this point, I'm like turning left and right, and like I'm trying to find it. And before I knew it, the darkness just was upon me. Pop! and I was out. Wow, this was the easiest part, so to speak. I do not know what happened during the surgery. I do not know how they did anything and everything. I just remember after that darkness, the next thing I was being shaken, and he was calling me, Kish, Kish, wake up, wake up, wake up. And oh my gosh, guys, in my entire life since I was born, this was the worst moment ever, so to speak. As soon as he woke me up and I could feel like somebody's waking me up, my brain was, I don't know where I was dreaming or whatever, but then it all came back to me, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And I opened my eyes like this. And within 10 seconds of my being conscious, I let out the worst scream I have ever done in my life. A scream of pain. Man, I shouted, wow. Oh, the pain, the pain. Like, I had the worst pain of my life. I don't understand what had happened. I don't know, like, this is my own conclusion. I think there was a problem or a mistake that had happened with the surgeons, because they woke me up before they gave me anesthesia. This is my own reasoning. I cannot, of course, be 100% sure, but I'm telling you, they woke me up. The pain, I have never felt such pain in my life. What happened is, I was lying flat on the bed. As you know how you just lay flat, and then as soon as they woke me up, the pain was so much, and my knee just like this, and my other foot was straight, and I could not move my knee, I could not move my leg, I could not move my body. I was just in pain, and I was screaming like a madman. And I was just telling them, please, just put me back to sleep. Please, I beg you, please, I'll do anything. Put me back to sleep, because at least in my sleep I wasn't in pain. And I thought like I knew what had happened to me in my body, and I was in so much pain. And then after like 5-10 seconds, again they put me out. They gave me morphine, and then I just like slept again. So my theory is, they woke me up before they gave me morphine, like the painkillers, instead of the other way around. I think they're supposed to give you the painkillers before they wake you up. But now let me tell you what happened, so that why the pain was this extra painful. So later on, like I'm gonna jump forward, then I'll come back. Later on, when I talked to the doctors, they explained to me I did not do a normal surgery, because I did something called laparoscopic operation. So they do not cut you open to remove the kidney. What they do is I got four incisions in my stomach. I think I've shown you guys. The 4 incisions are to be able to insert some camera inside and some instruments that will go and cut your kidney. So they don't open you up like traditional ways. It's new technology. So they don't open you up. They basically just use these instruments. They put the 4 the things inside you. So they have 4 holes, like it's like a rectangle, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have four holes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these holes are not just cuts, they're really deep. Actually, the doctor said it's like 4 stabbings, like cha, 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 like somebody stabs you. So they're really deep, like almost this deep. And then they put in the cameras and the instruments, and then they use the camera to cut the kidney and remove it. I'll tell you how that goes. But for this type of surgery, in order for the camera to come in and see you, and remember I had a complicated anatomy, so they needed to really see inside, so that because my veins and my kidneys were intertwined. They were not just straight. Normally if people speak, they think veins are straight and everything. My veins and my arteries were a bit intertwined. That's why it was complicated. So to be able to see well and open me up well and use the camera to go inside me and open up, they had to blow me up. And they blew me up with what? A special type of gas. So they put that gas in me, and I was inflated. So basically, of course I didn't see myself, but if you were to look at me when I was being operated on, I was inflated all over, from the neck down, the abdomen to the abdomen. I was like inflated, because there's a gas inside of me, a special gas that inflates you, so that now they can be able to see well and work well. So this gas was one of the reasons why I had so much pain, because this gas, it stays inside of you, and the only way to get rid of this gas is you have to pass gas, or you have to fart, so to speak. So the second reason I had so much pain is because as soon as, like, when they did the operation successfully, they managed to bring out the kidney, take it out. So they gave me the 4 holes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they cut like here under the stomach, like a C-section, a huge cut. And this huge cut is where they pulled out the kidney. So remember, these ones they are very small. Maybe I can show you guys, a little bit. This is some of them. These ones, if you can see, these ones. So they're really small. So basically, there's no way the kidney would fit there. Of course, this one is only for putting the instruments to cut the kidney, but to remove the kidney, they had to cut me like the C-section. I won't show you. It's too gruesome. So they had to cut me under and then remove my muscles, like where you have your 6 packs. They don't touch the muscles because it will take too long to heal when they touch the muscles, but they move them to the side, literally. Then they reach in and pull out the kidney. So that's what they did. And when after that, the C-section part was okay. They no problems. They just like sewed it back together, put in a special seal. But now this one here, this cut here, you can see it, was the biggest one. I think that's where the camera was coming in, because the other one is just like instruments to cut and it's through laser or something. But that cut was refusing to stop bleeding. So it was just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And of course, I was not awake at this point. I was still under. So the surgeon told me at this point, the only way to stop the bleeding was to burn it. So they burnt me with whatever they used. Then they just burnt that until the bleeding stopped, and it didn't continue after that. But now you can imagine the pain of that burning, the pain of the gas inside of me, because that gas, when it swells, your arms, your feet, everything is so much pain. You cannot move, literally. You have to lay still. As soon as you move a little bit, it's so much pain. So they woke me up without giving me the morphine, the pain medicine. And that is why I had I had the highest pain you can ever imagine humanly possible. Like, from a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, I had a 12. I'm telling you, it was so bad. I would never wish that on any of my enemies, But yeah, long story short, after that, then they took me to the recovery room, and I think you guys have seen that video when I wake up and I'm just there and I'm like I was so confused. I was wondering like what's happening. I could feel like the pain is over because the morphine was really working, but still I could not move. I could not do anything. So I was just there and smiling and just looking around. And I remember the first thing that I did was just ask where my sister is. Then the nurses and the doctors tell me she's still in surgery, because what happens is they start with me, they do everything, then they go and they put it in her and they make sure everything is working. So her process takes a bit longer. But man, I'm telling you, that was hell. That was hell. So I really don't know what happened on her side, but all I know is, like, first of all, they do the 4 holes on me. Then before they cut me in the C-section, they wait for the signal from her side. They open her up also. She also had 4 surgeons, like me. And then after that, they give the signal that it's ready to cut the kidney. Then they cut my kidney and take it to her room. And then the doctors finish up with me while the others continue with her. So after that, I was taken to the room, and I was just lying there. And slowly by slowly, I started feeling myself, but I couldn't move at this point. But it was okay. The doctors told me you don't need to move, but by the next day you really have to start moving. You need to mobilize, otherwise it can be a problem. So at this point, I'm laying there in the bed and I look down, and what do I see? I have a long pipe inside my penis, and it goes like guys, I'm telling you, this surgery has showed me things. For those who don't know, I work like an auxiliary nurse, and I usually work with the elderly, and I've seen a lot of things that they have, and one of the things that they have is like a catheter, and I was always thinking, this must be so gruesome, So when I looked down, I found, man, I have a catheter. They had put a catheter in me. The reason they put a catheter in me is because they needed to give me so much fluid throughout the night and throughout surgery to ensure that my remaining kidney is able to pump and clear fluids by its own, because now it's working on its own, it's not two of them. So when I looked, I saw a catheter, man, and I was like, oh shit. And what, like, first of all, this catheter, they put a pipe, like, you know, this is your member, let's say this is your member, then they put a pipe inside, and it goes all the way into the urethra and like near the axis of the kidney. Then it, as soon as the kidney filters out something, it's taken out, and then that pipe goes down out through your penis and into a bag, and then they have to measure, because the bag is calibrated, so they have to measure how much urine you're producing. So man, I woke up with this and I was seeing like the things that I usually help my clients with, the old guys with, like for example, to take care of their catheter, to clean it, to pour their urine. I have that freaking thing on me, and oh my gosh. Then the nurse came and told me, tomorrow I'm gonna remove the catheter, you just need it today, so just be ready. And I was like, are you gonna make me sleep again so you remove it, because I don't want really to be part of this, I don't want to see this. And I was like, no. Then comes the next morning, the nurse comes bright and early. He was from India. He was really, really good guy, remember, so big up to you if you're watching this. Then he tells me you have to sit on the bed, and then I sit on the bed, and then he takes the tape away, he removes it from my foot, and then oh my gosh, then he starts pulling out that pipe from inside, like inside my member, and he pulls it, and it's so long, man. It's like, you can't imagine how long it is. He just pulls and pulls and pulls, and you can imagine, if you're a guy, your penis, there's a pipe inside, you don't know how long it is, you think it's a short one, but the guy's just pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and oh my gosh, I felt like he was pulling the life out of me. It wasn't painful, so to speak, but you can imagine, just imagine sitting there and something is being pulled from your, you know, your day. Oh. That feeling is unshakable. Yeah, anyway, he pulled it out and it was okay, and then he was like, okay, now you don't have the catheter, so you can pee like normal, because you know when you have the catheter, you can't go to the toilet, you don't even feel the urge to pee, it's impossible. You can't pee, you can't erect, you can't do anything. So after that, he was like, now you're good to go, you can try and pee. Then because I couldn't walk, he got me a bottle. Again, like when I work with my patients, when they can't move, they're immobile, you give them a bottle where they pee in the bottle, then you get rid of the pee. So I had to use that bottle, man. Yeah, and after that, after he removed that thing, then he took me and he started helping me to walk, because I was immobile, you know. So slowly by slowly, he helped me walk, take 2-3 steps. It was really, really hard, so I couldn't do it so well. So I only took like 5 steps, like from here to the table there. I had to sit down and then come back. That was still 24 hours after, so I was a bit weak. But yeah, those were some of the toughest points, you know, in this whole procedure. And after that, I started trying to walk by myself, and I started making some steps. I even went to the shower and had a shower, and that was okay. Now the next biggest problem was the gas that they pumped into me, because that gas was so painful, you know. Unless you pass gas, unless you fart, it will stick in you. So they told me the only solution is you have to walk and you have to pass gas. That's there's nothing else. So guys, I started walking slowly. I started, you know, doing everything. Nothing was coming out, and it was so painful, because when you move, you can feel the gas in your muscles, and it's so painful. So I was always on painkillers, and later on that night, I passed a small gas, and I was so happy. But of course, I had too much gas in me, so that was nothing. But at least that shows that something is working. But the next problem is, and it lasted for the next 2 days when I was still in the hospital, I was highly constipated. So my stomach was swollen, plus I had gas, so I couldn't pass gas well because it was really small, and I couldn't go to the toilet. And the doctors were like, man, you really need to go to the toilet, or you need to take a shit, basically, so to speak, and you need to pass gas. Nothing was working. They waited and waited. They were giving me some tablets to swallow, some red tablets, you know, that they moisten your intestines, so that when you pass stool, it won't be so constipatedly hard. Nothing was working. And then the worst again happened. The doctor said, the nurses came and they were like, man, since you can't do it like that, we have to induce it. And I was like, okay, no worries. In this, like, we'll give you 2 pills. And I was like, okay, no worries. Let me take the pills. They'll help me. And guys, oh my Lord, you know what they did? So the nurse tells me, turn to the side, face the wall, and hold the side. And I'm like, what the? Okay, so I turn, and it's really painful also to turn. So I turned. Then, man, she lifts up my butt cheeks, and she goes ahead and shoves a pill inside my asshole. I never thought this day would come, and I had not just one but 2 of them, and oh my gosh, what an experience. Yeah, I mean, she had warned me. She told me, this one you can't swallow, we have to put it from the back. And I was like, do we have to? She was like, yeah, there's no other option. So she did what she had to do, and yeah, actually after a few minutes I felt like, wow, I really need to go to the toilet. It really worked. So I went to the toilet and it was okay. And yeah, man, that was the two. Then after that I started becoming a bit better, a bit stronger, and they finally discharged me from the hospital and they told me to come home. And then when I came home, of course I was still in pain, I was still having problems with the gas, and but eventually, like from then on, things started becoming better. I started now to pass more gas, but then I was still a bit more constipated. Then they recommended for me to drink something called Movicol. And Movicol also is something I give to my patients a lot. Nothing that I thought I'd ever need in my life, especially as a young man. But man, I had to do it. I drank it and it helped my stomach at least, you know, open up. And about 1 week was really hard. I couldn't do much because my arms were so in pain, you know, because of the gas. I couldn't lift them, I couldn't do anything. So even when I had food, when I tried to lift, it was so painful I can't eat. So I was literally forced to be fed like a child or like an old man. And this happened for a few days, but when you're vulnerable, you're vulnerable. So yeah, so that's what happened, man. So this is just a brief of the downsides that I had. But man, now I'm so grateful. I'm feeling much better. Look at me, I'm wearing pants, I'm enjoying life, you know, everything is good. I can walk, I can lift my heads up, I can jump, I can't run yet because my wounds are still a bit sensitive, but I'm feeling much better, man. I'm much better. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an insight of everything that happened in this whole process, like the dark sides, the good sides, but all in all, was it worth it? Yes. And I'm happy it was not all in vain, because my sister is feeling much better. She's off her dialysis, she's off all these plugs she had so many pipes, she had so many restrictions. She's getting better now. She's in the hospital getting another checkup, and soon I will be allowed to go back home to Sweden, and I'm so happy. I'll go and enjoy the summer. And I'm also recovering really well. She's recovering really well, so it was worth it all in all. And yeah, I'm just happy I could share this experience with you guys, my family. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Like, share, subscribe, and see you next time in the next one. Top of the morning, Kish my world. Peace.